Welcome to this third and final part of the video on Shakespeare and the theme of sex. Continuing on from the previous videos, we're now going to look at an possible essay structure in answer to this question. And we've already looked at the extract, we've looked at themes, we've looked at the question itself. And so now I'm just going to go through how I would approach this question. Obviously, you might have a completely different opinion to me, that's fine, but here is just a kind of very good basic structure that I would use and I think is useful to an essay on this theme. So firstly, I would introduce my argument. My argument here is that Isabella's extreme defence of her virginity and the hyperbolic proposition from Angelo. Hyperbolic here just means kind of exaggerated. So the hyperbolic proposition from Angelo suggests that Shakespeare is mocking the highly moralistic and Puritan attitudes to sex in his time. So as you can see here, I put my personal opinion here by putting extreme, and I've also referred to the context of the time. So I'm including all the points that we need to include in an introduction and in any paragraph. I'm then going to explain how my argument sits in relation to the question, statement and/or alternative arguments. I will say Isabella upholds the idea that virginity is the most precious thing a woman could possess, so using terms from the question and the statement here, just to remind the examiner that I'm answering the question. She refuses to give it up, even to save her brother's life. Then I'm just going to introduce a bit more context relevant to my argument. I will say, despite upholding traditional values of the time, Elizabethan audiences might have felt Isabella was too extreme because she doesn't choose to save her brother's life, she chooses to save her virginity. Angelo embodies the traditional tropes of a hypocrite. Then finally, in my introduction, I would just summarise how the writer's techniques prove my argument. Here I've said, from Isabella's violent language to Angelo's brusque power of persuasion, this extract reveals that the morality surrounding sex outlined by Angelo at the beginning of the play is more complex and contradictory than it first seems. So I don't really have a specific argument here, and that's okay. I've just outlined the fact that there is something complex and contradictory, and obviously that indicates that I will explore that later in my essay. So you don't have to know your argument in full when you're writing an introduction, you only need to really know your argument in your conclusion. So then I would move on to the body of my essay, and here I've got very spare skeletons of points that I might make. I've only included 3 points here, which is probably the minimum amount of points you want to make in an essay like this. I would recommend you make around 4 or 5 if you're wanting to write a really good essay. So I've just made 3 kind of basic points, and obviously in the essay, in the exam, you would definitely need to expand on these points, kind of include smaller points within your main points.
Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you're looking for an amazing A-level English literature resource, join me today in my series of engaging bite-sized video tutorials. Together, we will concisely cover all the important concepts required by your exam board specification, as well as practically apply what we have learnt through exam-style questions, focusing on how best to structure your answers in order to maximise marks. See you soon, and together let's make A-level English literature a walk in the park.